Have you ever been in a position where you knew something was coming? And although it doesn't directly affect your life, you don't want to see it happen to other people either. See, I'm going to go back and piggyback off Cat Williams, but let me say something before I get to Cat. I don't say this to boast, but I'm fortunate to have shielded myself from this ideal of having a favorite celebrity. Because in shielding myself from that, then you don't get entirely too attached. But back to Cat Williams. A whole lot of truth telling, as he said on Club Shay Shay, was going to happen in 2024. And he wasn't lying about this. See, we saw these people growing up on television, and a lot of us also saw that movie Eyes Wide Shut, but at the time didn't really understand the esoteric meaning and did not know unless you were really in the know what that movie was telling us. I never really watched the movie, but here's the point I want to make. You see those people, you see the admiration, the screaming crowds, the autographs. You think these people have it good. You think that they're happy. You don't know the inner turmoil they will feel or will eventually feel behind the scenes when they realize it's not all what it's cracked up to be. What happens when you're like a Britney Spears and from the time you're a little girl on the Mickey Mouse Club, people see you on TV and think you're so fortunate. Next thing you know, by the time you are in your late teens, you have a hit song where you're dressed like a schoolgirl dancing in a hallway. And in the early 2000s, you're topping the charts. Then you run into a series of bad relationships. One that produced you two beautiful sons. And now they want nothing to do with you and have moved to another state. Then you have a parent that put you on a conservatorship for years, which I'm not going to get into whether that did or didn't work. Then you have people who glossed over in the early 2000s a nervous breakdown that you were having because of the lack of people's ability to respect boundaries. No matter how tragic we know Britney Spears' story to be, and how we now probably saw this coming, some misguided person somewhere in the United States is still going to give their child to the industry, pass their child through the fire like Mullick. Because this is within itself child ritualistic sacrifices. They just didn't burn her on the altar and dance around it. But the way she was exploited, the way she was hypersexualized, the way she was pedestalized and put on a pedestal to be a trophy for people, instead of treated like a person, you may as well say she was passed through the fire like Mullick. That could be an overreach for some people. But you have to be crazy if you do not see the parallels between this and real life and why you should not put your children in that industry. I can remember being around her age, because I am, and thinking, oh, she has it so fortunate. Why couldn't I have gotten those opportunities? And by my late 20s, starting to see signs and snapped out of it. Say what you want about the things that Britney has been doing online. We should at least acknowledge that she was exploited as a child. Net exploitation, because it went back that far, it was bound to go in this direction if it was not handled. When you have all the money in the world, when you've had all the fame, you've traveled, you had people rooting for you, and you go in a big empty house alone with no one there with you, not with your 2 children, how would you feel? Because in my opinion, she's the great American tragedy that is a cautionary tale of why you don't mess with that industry. And now in the last few years, you have kids from Disney and Nickelodeon speaking out, saying that unspeakable things had happened to them. See, that industry doesn't just give you peace and quiet, come in, let you be famous and do your thing. No, it demands of you. It strips you of your essence as a person. It virtually destroys you. And the worst part is that some of the ones who got the most destruction were told, like Drake Bell, to turn against their parent and were manipulated. That kind of winning is a diminishing return. And again, I have no favorite celebrities, but I feel a great amount of empathy for Britney Spears because the manipulation with her started as a child. And when people have manipulated you for so long and all you want to do is be human and live, it can be dehumanizing. Don't pass your kids through the fire.